So we send them to an aeration tank. The aeration tank has a culture of bacteria, billions and billions of bacteria that like these solids. That's their food. So we provide oxygen for the bugs as well as food, and the bugs start eating these solids, and they start getting heavy, getting big, getting fat. So now they're settleable, and we'll send them over to the settling tank.
Okay.
This is a large circular tank that is, again, slow, quiescent. The solids will settle to the bottom, and the clean water at the top goes over some weirs and out to the canal. And now we've treated it the Sanitarian Ship Canal of Chicago, which then eventually heads down to Peoria and St. Louis and the Mississippi and the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow, and that water is clean. That's
Yes, we've cleaned it 99.9%.
And that's just good water.
It's clean.
That's so weird. You add bacteria to dirty water to make it clean. I wouldn't have thought that.
Yes, yes. We don't use any chemicals. We do use some chemicals for odors, but we don't use it as a typical process. It's all biological process.
And how long does that take?
Approximately 8 hours from coming into the plant to when it leaves. We're speeding up Mother Nature. This is what Mother Nature usually does in like a stream or river, and takes a couple weeks. We do it in about 8 hours.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Mother Nature would make use of bacteria to clean all this out.
So you guys seem to process a lot of things, but is there anything that we shouldn't be flushing down the drain?
Things like prescription medications, we don't like those because they go through our system, and they have been found to affect the fish in the receiving stream. So your antibiotics, and so it's better to put those in your garbage.
Now, I have some paint thinner. I had a project at home. That can go down the drain, right? That's not prescription medicine.
We prefer it wouldn't. We do have in this area household hazardous waste days, and if things like batteries and paint thinners, any kind of chemicals, please bring it to our household hazardous waste day, and then we'll dispose of it properly.
Okay, so no prescription medication.
Correct.
No hazardous household chemicals.
Correct.
Is there anything else we should watch out for? Bowling
Goldfish.
Balls? No gold. Don't flush goldfish.
I prefer not. I feel for the goldfish.
Yeah, that would be a pretty tragic way to go.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty amazing stuff today and scientists with really cool day jobs.
And we've learned that some of the science they do can be kind of gross.
Oh yeah. Now these guys have gone to school, they took some science classes, and now they do some pretty amazing work.
And they do really important work too. Cleaning water and making specimens for the museum.
Yeah, and this stuff is very important, and clearly these people like what they do. I just wish there was a way that we could, do stuff like this at home.
You mean like a gross science experiment we can do at home?
Yes.
Oh, I think we can come up with something.
Hi, welcome to the Museum of Science and Industry. My name is Mindy, and you're here today for a wonderful experiment on how to make slime. All right, so we're going to make some slime. It's a really basic chemistry experiment. Now, chemistry, as we know, is the study of matter. We look at matter, we look at the properties of matter, try to learn more about that matter, and a great way to do that is by mixing things together. So we're going to make slime. We're going to mix some ingredients together to make this slime. So what we've got today is 3 really basic ingredients you probably have at home. We have water, very basic ingredient. Our next one is glue, another thing you can get very easily in stores. And the last one might sound weird, but it's actually really easy to get: borax. Borax is a laundry detergent. You can find it in most stores. So these 3 very basic kitchen chemistry ingredients, mix them together to make our slime. All right, so the first thing we need to do is measure some water. We have our lovely graduated cylinder. We will take 30 milliliters of water, measure it out. Awesome, and pour it right into this container. And to that, I will add a ½ teaspoon of borax. When we add the borax to the water, it won't explode or anything. It will just basically dissolve. All right, so we add that water, the borax, give it a few shakes to help it dissolve a little bit more, and set that off to our side. Our first solution is ready to go. Our second solution is going to be some glue. So we will take 40 milliliters of water, pour that right in here. And then pour that into this plastic cup. Now, you're probably asking, how am I going to measure our third ingredient, glue? Glue is really sticky, not very easy to measure. I've got a little trick for you so that if you do this at home, you don't ruin your measuring cups. Basically, I need the same amount of water as I already have of glue. So what I can do is draw a line where the top of the water is on this plastic cup. Pour it out. And now I have an empty disposable container to measure exactly 40 milliliters of glue. All right, so we'll pour our glue into the plastic cup up to that line. We'll add our water. Give it a little stir. Chemists call this agitating, but we will just stir it up a little bit. And as you can see, we basically just have watery glue now, still not any slime. At this point, we can get a little bit more artistic. We're going to add in some color. You can add in any color you want to make this your favorite color. We'll add in a few drops of red for this one and a few drops of yellow. Give it another stir. Very bright orange watery glue now, still not slime. We're waiting for our last ingredient, basically our borax solution. So we have our glue, we have our borax. When we add these two chemicals, that's when the reaction or the change will occur. So a chemical reaction is basically when you mix chemicals together, they change in some way that's completely different than what they were before. So we have our watery glue. When we add in our dissolved borax, let's see what the reaction is. There we go. This is our slime. Obviously, it's very different than it was before. Definitely not sticky like glue is. It slides right off my hands. It's a lot more thicker than that dissolved borax or the glue was. So this stuff is definitely completely different than it was before. This is our brand new slime. We definitely completed a wonderful chemical reaction. Now, basically, the science behind what's happening here is that glue is a polymer. If you want to know more about what polymer is basically what you want to do is think of a chain. You have all these links in the chain. Think of the molecules that are inside of this stuff, and they're basically all linked together. With glue, it's a nice long chain like this so that the molecules are still able to slide around past each other, and it's not acts more like a liquid. When we add the borax in with the glue, what's going to happen is that these chains are going to cross-link. They're not going to be able to move around as much, and so that's going to act more like a solid. So basically what we're doing here is just manipulating a polymer. When we added that borax in with the glue, the polymer chains binded together, and we got something completely different than it was before. So that's slime. This is a really great, easy experiment to do at home, and thanks for hanging out with me today.
So I hope you like what you saw today and you find the day-to-day lives of scientists just a little more interesting.
Well, I sure did. And science is so important that Chicago is taking a whole year to celebrate.
That's right. This show is just one of many programs going on through Science Chicago, a year-long celebration of science in the city.
Life's a lab, and we want everyone to get out and explore their city and see how science affects everything that we do.
There's an amazing array of things to see and do, so go to the Science Chicago website and check it out. You can even interact with Dr. Rabiah.
That's right. I have a blog on ScienceChicago.com, so check us out and find some great things to do.
I'm sure you can find something gross, too.
You sure can.
Wow. Thanks for watching and enjoy the celebration.
Support for City Science has been provided in part by Science Chicago, the world's largest science celebration, awakening the inner scientist in each of us through thousands of dynamic interactive activities. For information, go to ScienceChicago.com.